everyone. This is John Contreras, and you are listening to my show, Greek News on Demand, which is based off of my news website, GreekNewsOnDemand.com. That's one word, GreekNewsOnDemand.com. Visit our website for the best news on Greece. We publish in both Greek and in English. If you want to read our English articles, just simply go to our homepage and find basically the black tab where it says English articles, and there you can basically see what we publish in English. Or what you can do is just go to Google and then type in one word, Greek News on Demand, and then next to that, type in certain keyword phrases with regards to Greece. For example, type in Greek News on Demand and then type in Greek debt, or type in Greek crisis, things of that sort, and you'll find the best articles that we have published in English so that you can adequately and properly inform yourself about what's been going on in Greece the past 6 years, and in the recent decades, for that matter. So, I'm part of a team of journalists in Greece that basically have the whole lowdown about what's going on in Greece, and we have all the right statistical data about the Greek debt. We're talking about very reputable journalists, Greek government officials, people that work in the Greek statistical office that know exactly what went on because they saw it with their own eyes, Greek intelligence, and so on and so forth. So we get the best information to offer you about Greece, and that's why our goal was to make Greek News on Demand the number one news website, not only for Greece, but particularly for the English-speaking world, because the English-speaking world out there, America, Canada, UK, Australia, you name it, they really don't know what's going on with Greece. And anytime you hear a pundit or a economic analyst go on TV and basically toot his horn about Greece, you know, we're talking about people from Harvard, Yale, and all these other big economic schools, they know absolutely nothing about what's going on in Greece. And they usually basically tout the usual nonsense, saying how, well, the Greeks are going through a crisis because they didn't pay their taxes, and they want to retire at the age of 40, and there was a government corruption, and this and that, and blah, 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 and everything else. So that's the usual mainstream news nonsense. So it is our goal to get out to the mainstream news, to get out everywhere, to the internet, wherever, the truth about Greece, so that we can save this country and make Greece great again. Because that's really what our goal is here, is to make Greece great again. Just like how Donald Trump says he wants to make America great again. But the topic of this broadcast today is, does Donald Trump really want to make America great again? And we're going to tie this in with Greece, because Donald Trump just made some interesting moves on Greece. And that statement, moves. Now, throughout his campaign, he said from time to time some pretty jacked up stuff, I would say, about Greece. He spoke in sort of in a depreciatory manner against Greece. And that's something that, of course, has really pissed us off as Greeks. But I'm going to tell you why. Because Donald Trump has no intention of making Greece great again, and Donald Trump certainly has no intention of making America great again, the way we think he's going to make America great again, quote unquote. Donald Trump is going to make great the plans of World Zionist Jewry to take over the world. Donald Trump wants to make Israel great, or rather greater, let's say. Donald Trump wants to implement and carry out the Greater Israel Project. Now, if you don't know what the Greater Israel Project is, you need to Google that right now. Google it right now, Greater Israel, and you'll see what I mean. Now, I'll get into all the details, but the issue is this. The first guest that's coming to the White House of Donald Trump is none other than Bibi Netanyahu, the bloodthirsty, psychopathic terrorist, arch-terrorist, if that doesn't tell you something. Anyway, stand by, and I think you're going to enjoy this broadcast, and I think all the Trump voters out there are really now going to regret what they did. Now, don't worry, because I know we all hated Hillary, that's true, and we thought, well, you know, Trump is the lesser of two evils, so let's vote for him. But, regardless, your vote doesn't count anyway. Because the whole thing, the whole system is rigged and fixed. Now, I know some people are going to say, well, you sound like a conspiracy theorist now, right? Yeah, you're right, I do. And I back up what I say with facts. You can call me whatever you want. I am a journalist. I am a reputable journalist and known by many, many Greeks worldwide, as well as Americans, Greek Americans. But what I say, I back up with facts, and I'm about to blow your mind about the whole process, how it is rigged. And I will agree with Donald Trump. The system is rigged. Well, guess who's behind the rigged system? It's none other than Mr. President, newly President-elect Donald Trump. And I'll explain why. So please stand by. Okay, so we have bombshell breaking news here, which you're going to hear first on Greek News on Demand. Go to our English section on our website and find the article, WikiLeaks Bombshell. Trump was a tool used by the Hillary campaign from day one. Yes, you heard that correctly. WikiLeaks Bombshell. Trump was a tool used by the Hillary campaign from day one. This is unmistakable. Now, of course, everyone gets access to WikiLeaks leaks. It leaks them. The mainstream news media has used them. Alternative mainstream news media like Alex Jones, who's becoming, of course, mainstream news himself, which tells you something. He's been using them, but oddly enough, they chose not to use this particular leak. Gee, I wonder why. Now, I write here some pretty scathing comments for all the supposed patriots out there who went and voted for Donald Trump, who gave their unchecked support for a guy who made his money with the help of the Jewish mafia and the Italian mafia, which of course submits to the Jewish mafia. I'm talking about patriots who wanted to have their cake and eat it too. Guess what, guys? You've been fooled once again. I guess we just don't learn our lesson now, do we? Because I'm talking about the same people who basically thought George Bush was going to be America's hope. Basically the same people who went and voted for Donald Trump. They're the same ding-dongs who went and voted for George Bush. Okay? Now, you've already learned that the system is corrupt. You've already learned that George Bush lied to us about weapons of mass destruction. He showed himself to be an utter criminal. Now, I'm talking primarily to those group of patriots out there that love America, that want to, quote-unquote, make America great again. Of course, not realizing that statement that Trump uses, he borrowed it from his longtime pal, Bill Clinton, who invented that phrase himself back in 1991 during his presidential campaign. And he used that phrase again in 2008 for Hillary. That's just a side note. But I'm talking to those people out there that still don't understand what's really going on, although they're conservative, patriotic, whatever, la la la, blah blah blah. But they don't know what's really going on. They don't know about the New World Order conspiracy. Now, to all the pseudo 9/11 truthers out there, quote unquote 9/11 truthers, I have some pretty scathing comments. Now, I'm talking about people who either support Alex Jones or not, those types. Now, there's a lot of people who don't like Alex Jones because he doesn't expose the Zionist Jews. Once in a while, he'll throw in the J word once in a while during his broadcasts, but he's really not there to expose them. He's really there to carry out their little agenda as a gatekeeper for the 9/11 truth movement. For these people, too, who fell for all this election garbage, BS, giving Trump the quote-unquote benefit of the doubt, that this time we have a quote-unquote real candidate who is quote-unquote anti-New World Order, etc., and who actually heard all the evidence against Trump, that he too is a pawn of the Zionist Jews. Now, I'm talking about people who heard all the evidence against Trump, who are anti-New World Order, who know what's going on, okay, who are awake, who are seemingly awake, okay, who know the system is corrupt, rigged, who know that their vote doesn't count after all, and I'll explain later how that works. I'm talking to a specific group of people here who act like they're out there to expose the New World Order. But this time around, you've all been duped one more time. Because you fell into that trap that, well, this time things will be different with Trump. No. You were deceived. You allowed yourselves to be deceived, and you put your vote on a person who's about to destroy America. You are guilty of treason. Whether you realize this or not, you are guilty of treason. And I hope you repent for what you did, giving Trump your support. Now, don't worry about your stupid vote, because it doesn't count. Okay? Because FDR says presidents are selected. They're not elected, they're selected. You knew damn well that Trump was full of shit, and you still went and you put your vote for that guy. You knew he's putting on a show. You saw the evidence against him that he's for the Zionist Jews, and you made an excuse. Oh, it's going to be different this time. You know the system's rigged. You know your vote doesn't count, yet you still went and voted. What the hell are you doing? Why are you supporting the system? I thought we're supposed to be people that are here to overturn the system, to wake people up, to expose it. I thought you were those people that understand fully how the Illuminati works. I guess not. Now, according to basically your level of knowledge of the facts on how this government works, you're going to be held responsible for your choice. Because now Trump is about to basically bring out the beast with whatever that entails. I mean, is it any fluke? He goes around, everywhere he goes, every 5 flipping seconds, he throws out the Illuminati 666 sign. My God, do you not know what that is? Now, I'm speaking in general here now to everyone, and of course to people who don't know about the New World Order. But for those that do, and knew that this whole system is corrupt, and went and still voted, thinking, oh, I'm going to change things this time with Trump, you've been fooled again, and you just betrayed your country. And I know you're going to think, oh, that's jacked up. You're saying that. Yeah, you're right, it's jacked up. But what's more even jacked up is what you did. Is the fact that you gave into this garbage again. Is the fact that you gave this guy your vote. And now I'm about to prove to you that what you did was just utterly, utterly irresponsible, to say the least. Now, I did not go and vote because it's all BS and fix. Since day one in this country, do you not know how this country works? Do you not know who runs this country by now? All you supposed anti-New World Order people out there? Hello? America has been run by British private corporations since day one. There is no real government in this country. There's a corporate form of government. Have you ever heard of the Virginia Company? The Virginia Company? Yeah, that was like in the 1600s when they came here. Anyway, that's another issue, which I might get into later. Now, don't think I'm here to just condemn everyone and send all of you to hell. I'm not. I'm here to rebuke you sharply and tell you, you need to cut the crap. And you need to really, really, really sober up and realize who this guy is and what he's all about. He's here to carry out a particular agenda, and he's shown it already. He's shown it throughout his campaign. He's here to carry out the Jew World Order, in case you haven't noticed. Now, what we didn't get when WikiLeaks just released on October 20th was a bombshell leak. In other words, what the so-called conservative media and Alex Jones failed, quote-unquote, and I put that in quotes, to release to us was another WikiLeaks bombshell leak on the 20th of October saying how in the United States there are no elections, just a power consolidation. Did you hear that from the conservative media? Of course you didn't, because it exposes the fact that your vote does not count, foolish American. Your vote does not count. Now, read my article on Greek News on Demand with the title, WikiLeaks Bombshell, There Is No U.S. Election. Hello? That's the title. WikiLeaks Bombshell, There Is No U.S. Election. Hello? The whistleblowing organization, I write, also released Barack Obama's personal email showing that President Bush organized his transition to the highest office in the land before the 2008 election. Isn't that something? WikiLeaks can have made it clear in a series of tweets on Thursday the U.S. election for the President of the United States is rigged. The establishment have selected their president, and by hook or crook, that person will be elected. Now, I'm quoting an article basically from another website, and they were thinking Hillary's going to get him. And that's what I thought too, honestly. I didn't think that Trump was that bought and paid for by the establishment. Now, I was wrong, because I thought there was more of a chance for Hillary to get in. I was pretty much convinced it was going to be her, like maybe 95%. Now, this tells you something now, doesn't it, about Trump? How they wanted him to get in. Because as you can see from this other article of mine that I'm reading to you, WikiLeaks leaked to us that the whole process is rigged. They say in a tweet of theirs on the 20th of October this year, there is no U.S. election, there is a power consolidation, rigged primary, rigged media, rigged Pied Piper candidates, drive consolidation. Wow, isn't that something? You know something, Donald Trump was right. The system is rigged. And he's part of this rigged system. Because it was him that they put into office, and not Hillary. Doesn't that tell you something? The fact that they put Trump in and not Hillary? Hello? I'm talking, of course, to all those supposed awake 9/11 truthers out there who expose the New World Order, who have been saying for years that the whole system's rigged, but who this time around, for some odd reason, wanted to have their cake and eat it too, by voting for the filthy, womanizing pedophile, psychopath Donald Trump. There's about 6 cases of pedophilia against Donald Trump, in case you haven't studied up on it. I have. I've done my homework. And it wasn't just Miss Jane Doe who disguised her identity for fear of reprisal. There were many other cases. Do your research. Go research it. Donald Trump, for years, was supported by the Jewish and Italian mafia out of New York. His mentor was Roy Cohn, the former head of the Jewish mafia. He was a very powerful individual in New York. Roy Cohn used to run pedophilia rings out of his New York home. Trump knew about Roy Cohn. Trump knew all about this. So don't give me this BS. Oh, Trump didn't have anything to do with that kind of stuff. Please. Now, on the day WikiLeaks publicized the release of emails from Barack Obama's personal account, their Twitter account then stated that the outcome of the election was planned from the outset. What election? It has been clear from the beginning who's going to win. This, in effect, is a power consolidation exercise. Now, maybe WikiLeaks was thinking Hillary would get in like I did. Anyway, regardless, that's not the point here. The point is we've all been hoodwinked. Now, of course, like I said, I did not go put my vote on anyone. And I was not one of those people that jumped on the Trump bandwagon. Now, continuing with this article, our presidents elected or selected. WikiLeaks emails from Barack Obama's personal email account revealed that the Bush administration contacted the future president multiple times before the election, secretly organizing the transition of power. And of course, in one email, John Podesta refers to Obama as the president-elect, and it was 3 weeks still before the elections had taken place. Now, going back, though, to our main issue here that we're dealing with, WikiLeaks bombshell, Trump was a tool used by the Hillary campaign from day one. Now, as for the sellout Alex Jones, who went against his own stance on political parties, saying for years that they are all corrupt along with the system, and who decided to portray his long-held beliefs by supporting the fraud Trump in order to boost his own ratings, he too will be judged by God for his treason to the 9/11 Truth / anti-New World Order movement. Now, go down a little bit further in this article, and let's get to the meat of the matter. According to RedState.com, we read the shocking evidence that implicates Trump in a plot, along with Hillary Clinton, to enter the presidential race. WikiLeaks has done it again. They released this leak a few weeks ago. And neither Alex Jones nor any other big-name conservative press outlet ran with the story. So here's what we read from Red State. Quote, if you were wondering if a Trump candidacy was any worry to Hillary Clinton, then wonder no more. The hacked emails released by WikiLeaks show an interesting tidbit about how Democrats looked at the idea of a Trump candidacy. And you can safely see that all of the candidates Hillary actively wanted to face, Trump, of course, was number one on the list. Calling them quote-unquote Pied Piper candidates, Team Hillary describes Trump, Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, and Ben Carson as nominees that could, if handled properly, make the extreme the mainstream. Make the extreme the mainstream. We need to be evaluating the Pied Piper candidates so that they are leaders of the pack and tell the press to them seriously, it's said in the email. Anyway, the email doesn't really... the email, I think, the way they wrote it doesn't really make sense, but regardless, the email's here, and you can read it. The summary, continuing with Red State, is that the DNC and the Clinton campaign wanted Trump to be Hillary's opponent because they knew his extreme stances could be used to alienate and divide. They could then use these candidates to paint the Republican Party as a whole as something dangerous. Trump was a tool for Hillary's campaign all along. She wanted the press to take Trump seriously, put him up as the most valuable option for Republicans, and the right took the bait, hook, line, and sinker. Now, that's the end of the Red State article, and continuing with my article. What also of utmost importance to note here is how both and Hillary Clinton went recently together to a major roast of the Jesuit Catholic priests there in D.C. Did you hear this from Alex Jones or other media outlets? Of course you did. But did your quote-unquote anti-New World Order heroes like Jones tell you what was really going on at this roast? Of course not. And that coming from a guy who for years has spoken about the Jesuits and how they play a major role in the New World Order, and blah, blah, blah. Now, when Trump and Hillary went to this roast, they did so in order to receive their marching orders from the Black Pope of the Jesuits. Note, too, that the Jesuits have been, from day one, crypto-Jews who infiltrated Christianity in order to corrupt it for their plans. Note, too, that both Donald Trump and Tim Kaine are graduates from Jesuit schools. Wow, isn't that something? What's also interesting is how Donald Trump and Bill Clinton both talked on the phone in May of 2015. And then a few weeks later, oddly enough, quote-unquote oddly enough, Trump decides to run for president. And now we have WikiLeaks to verify that Trump's candidacy was indeed fixed from day one by the Clinton campaign. So the evidence clearly shows a conspiracy here on the part of Trump, Clinton, the Jews, and the Jesuits. At this, of course, big roast, you see other big people like Henry Kissinger, okay? Which speaks volumes. Henry Kissinger also happens to be one of Donald Trump's advisors, the war criminal Henry Kissinger. And this is of utter particular importance to us Greeks because it was Henry Kissinger's policies in 1974 that destroyed Greece, that destroyed Cyprus, that allowed the Turks to invade the northern part of Cyprus. And that illegal sort of quote-unquote status quo occupation, rather. That illegal occupation has been in effect since then, and the United States government has done absolutely nothing about it. Trump, who knows that Henry Kissinger is a big devil, who knows that Henry Kissinger is a war criminal, chose him as his advisor. Gee, does Donald Trump know what Henry Kissinger has done to Greece? Of course he does. Donald Trump knows what's going on. He's not stupid. Donald Trump knows what's going on. He knows about the conspiracy, and guess what, folks? He's part of it. Is it any wonder the fact that one of his good friends is Larry Silverstein, the former owner of the Twin Towers? Go to YouTube, and you can find the clip. Actually, let me play you a clip right now of Donald Trump on the show Hardball of MSNBC a few years after 9/11, talking about Larry Silverstein.
I see what's happening down there. It's a mess. And the developer is actually a friend of mine, but he didn't want to build this building either. If you look back at the records, I mean, when it was first foisted upon him, Larry Silverstein is a great guy. He's a good guy. He's a friend of mine, but he didn't want to build this pile of junk. And it's a shame. It's really a shame. The developer is actually a friend of mine. Larry Silverstein is a great guy. He's a good guy. He's a friend of mine.
The developer is actually a friend of mine. Larry Silverstein is a great guy. He's a good guy.
Hello? Donald Trump is saying that this criminal, Jew, billionaire Larry Silverstein is a great guy and a friend of his? What kind of BS is this? Honestly. Did all the 9/11 truthers out there do their homework on Donald Trump? And honestly, did we really follow Donald Trump's life up until these elections? No, we didn't. Don't give me this BS. Everyone knew what a womanizer this guy was. Everyone knew what a fraud he was. Everyone knew what a fake-ass, crazy, what can I call him, reality show dingbat Donald Trump was. Everyone knew that he's taken bailouts from the government. And this guy has the audacity to come up and tell us, oh, I built such a great company. Really? Did you know that it's a fact that his attorney friend Roy Cohn, again, the former head of the Jewish mafia, helped Trump in the early 80s in a court case secure a $400 million tax break from the state of New York that would last over 40 years. Apparently, Donald Trump is still enjoying that tax break. That's New York taxpayer money. Before I get into the Jesuits, I have a nice little video here. A little clip I'm going to play for you from the channel M Lord and God. That's one word, M Lord and God. It's a very good channel. I love this channel a lot. I listen to its videos a lot. With the title, Shock, It's Not Over. Hillary trying to steal the election, Electoral College, and will of people. Now, this is all a distraction. And I think that basically, this is just going to be basically just another distraction where they're going to try to give more hope to the Democrats and stuff like that. But Trump has already basically been declared president. He's went and seen Obama, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, let's listen to this clip for a little bit and see what's going on, because this is a breaking news update.
Update. As of 6:30 Central Time, the Associated Press is reporting that Donald Trump has won Arizona. This would make it impossible for Hillary Clinton to qualify for the presidency with pledged Electoral College votes, as Donald Trump has exceeded the 270 votes needed to win. Note, Arizona results have not yet been certified. As AP analyst Michael McDonald notes, quote, just because the media calls something does not mean that it's actually the outcome of the election, end quote. Notes, elements of the Democratic Party have not given up. There is a concerted effort, as reported below, to convince Republican-pledged Electoral College electors to switch their votes to Hillary Clinton. I know this is astonishing. This is really shocking what's happening. She still has not given up. The global elite is still fighting. Her Hillary Clinton coup that stretches throughout the government is not giving up. So with 20 Electoral College votes still up for grabs, it is conceivable that Hillary would need them to flip. She'll need to flip just 21 of Trump's 290 pledged votes to make the presidency. The hashtag Never Trump movement may come back into play on December 19th when the Electoral College votes. This is astonishing. You didn't think she'd go down without a fight, did you? The Clinton campaign is clawing its way to what they hope may land Hillary in the White House. Though Clinton officially conceded the race to Trump on Wednesday morning after the election, the concession is not legally binding. During the 2000 election, Al Gore conceded to George Bush on the night of the election, only to begin court proceedings a few short hours later to contest the results and initiate recounts. According to Jim Stone, the race between Trump and Clinton may not be over just yet. Quote, red alert, they are probably still trying to steal the election. They may be trying to steal Arizona and Michigan, and then use special powers to flip 9 electoral votes away from Trump. There's a reason why they have refused to make their totals official. It's not over yet. Trump won Arizona. Why has it not yet been made official? Trump won Michigan. Why has it not been made official? They are calling the counts unofficial. Why? End quote. Election officials in Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, New Hampshire are still counting votes. The vote differentials, while the counts conclude, are so close that Clinton would potentially inch out a win with early voting ballots and provisional ballots. The small difference in votes in most of these states could trigger the recounts. And given what we know about the Clinton campaign, we suspect that any recount would bring with it the real possibility of, quote, uncounted votes, end quote, being discovered in back closets, much like we saw in Florida during the 2000 election debacle, end quote. Newsweek confirms that Hillary Clinton still has a chance. AP analyst Michael McDonald says he is skeptical that Trump won Wisconsin, as the AP projected. If that state flips for Clinton and she wins the other toss-up states, she and Trump could be in a tie at 269 votes each. Quote, maybe Clinton actually wins Wisconsin, end quote, McDonald says. He adds, look, just because the media calls something does not mean that that's actually the outcome of the election. So in that event, that neither candidate hits the 270 electoral vote threshold, the vote for president would be passed to the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, and the vote for vice president would be put before the Senate, also controlled by Republicans. One might say that this is a no-brainer, except we have two words, never Trump. The Never Trump movement, started by conservatives and championed publicly and privately by sitting U.S. congressional leaders, could potentially steal the win right out from under Donald Trump. Though unlikely, it remains a distinct possibility, and never to go without a plan B, as John Podesta hinted on election night. Clinton has a second option, which involves targeting the Electoral College directly. Change.org has already filed a petition that includes 361,000 signatures as of this writing, asking members of the red states' Electoral College to turn on the will of the people, to disregard the will of the people of their state and cast a vote for Hillary instead of Trump. This is astonishing. This is unbelievable. They're going to the Republicans so they can have them turn against Trump. This is unbelievable. This is, enough to make your skin crawl. I don't know, hair stand up on end. This is unbelievable. They're so brazen. They've got nerve. Brazen. Okay, going on with this. The situation would not be unprecedented, as there have been 157 quote-unquote faithless electors since the inception of the college in 1787. None of those faithless votes ever resulted in a significant shift in the election. Electors are bound by most states to cast the vote for their pledged party, and failure to do so comes with fines and in some cases jail time. What it boils down to is that Hillary could conceivably flip 10 electors to her side, however unlikely of a scenario that is. The petition expert says this: on December 19th, the electors of the Electoral College will cast their ballots. If they all vote the way their states voted, Donald Trump will win. However, they can vote for Hillary if they choose. Even in states where that is not allowed, their vote would still be counted. They would simply pay a small fine, which they can be sure Clinton supporters will be glad to pay. Of course, even the Clinton Foundation could pay that. We are calling on the electorals. That was my comment, going back to the petition writing, the text. We are calling on the electors to ignore their state's votes and cast their ballots for Secretary Hillary Clinton. Why? Mr. Trump is unfit to serve. His scapegoating of so many Americans and his impulsivity, bullying, lying, admitting his history of sexual assault, and utter lack of experience make him a danger to the Republic, they state. Going on with the text. Secretary Clinton won the popular vote, and she should be president. Hillary won the popular vote. The only reason Trump won is because of the Electoral College. But the Electoral College can actually give the White House to either candidate. So why not use this most undemocratic of our institutions to ensure a democratic result, end quote. This is so lame. I mean, they don't even use the right goals, the right reasons. Why don't they just say something about Hillary? For example, her satanic associates, her lies, her trying to start a world war that would put an end to all humanity and even planet Earth as we know it. no life to exist, period. Going back to the article, we can fully expect Hillary Clinton to push, even if she does so from behind the scenes. We expect that within hours or days, the push from the liberal media will be widespread, and the thousands of protesters taking over major cities across America will be calling for recounts, faithless electoral votes, and even revolution. It's definitely not over until the electoral votes are cast December 19th. And we can also see various articles associated with this. We finally know why Hillary disappeared on election night. She was crying inconsolably. It was hard to understand what she was saying. This is from Mike Slavo of SHTF Plan, and it's on the Daily Sheeple. I'll leave a link below for you for this.
Okay, so basically, that is basically the sort of mainstream conservative type of a reaction to this type of news, is what you just got. Now, it shouldn't surprise us because, as the video stated, the same thing happened, of course, with Gore and Bush back in 2000, when Gore, of course, filed a lawsuit to try to deal with this. But, of course, we know at that time the Supreme Court received a mandate to put Bush in. Now, did Al Gore really get upset over that? No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Al Gore knew damn well who was going to be president. It was Bush. He acted like basically, oh, Bush stole the election from me. Al Gore's part of the same club as George Bush. Enough of this nonsense. Now, I'm now going to play for you another video from the channel, The Dollar Vigilante. It's a very good channel. Please check it out on YouTube, The Dollar Vigilante, which says, title, Rigged Election. Hillary and Trump caught partying like BFFs with Henry Kissinger at Jesuit Gala. So, listen to this video. It's going to freak you out. And it's going to tell you that both Trump and Hillary are putting on a big show for all of us.
We have been very, very suspicious of Donald Trump since he began his political run. Many believed he was an outsider who was our only hope to tame the U.S. federal government beast. But it has become very clear he is not. First, WikiLeaks showed that Hillary herself actually approved Trump to be her competitor. According to an email sent from an assistant at the Clinton campaign, Hillary was aware that Trump was going to run before the political process was fully underway. Clinton advised the mainstream media to push his legitimacy as a Pied Piper candidate because she realized, after looking at the poll numbers, that she wouldn't stand a chance at winning the presidency against any of the establishment Republicans without making them Pied Pipers. It just so happened that Donald was the easiest to play the role, considering his long history of friendship with the Clintons. In addition, the mainstream media was more than complicit in creating a narrative that the 2016 presidential elections were about Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump from the get-go. But barely reported in the media was that after the third presidential debate, Clinton and Trump went out for a night on the town together, and where they went is of great interest. They went to an annual Jesuit function, which is usually full of New World Order types. One of the more interesting things that occurred right at the end of the Jubilee year in early October was that the Jesuits installed a new superior general, with the date to commence being actually at midnight on the end of Jubilee. We found this interesting because there is plenty of evidence that the Jesuits are at least one major arm of what you can call the Illuminati. In fact, the Jesuits were founded in Spain by what various reports call crypto-Jews, those who are Jewish but pretending to be Catholic. Certainly at that time in Spain, it was safer not to be a Jew. Even Wikipedia, which wouldn't recognize a conspiracy if it were directly presented by its participants, has this to say about the Jesuits. In the first 30 years of the existence of the Society of Jesus, there were many Jesuit conversos, Catholic convert Jews, including the second father, General Diego Llenas. The original founder, Ignatius, said that he would take it as a special grace from our Lord to come from Jewish lineage. At the beginning of the Al Smith dinner party, after Cardinal Dolan was introduced, A joke was even made by a speaker.
Without the amazing support of the many devoted Catholics on stage. You know, Catholics like Henry Kissinger, Howard Rubinstein.
Henry Kissinger, Howard Rubinstein, and Mort Zuckerman, all of whom are obviously Jewish, so this remark was naturally met with a lot of laughter. In fact, an extraordinary amount of controversy swirls around Jesuits. They are said to constitute the Black Church and thus adhere to the same satanic religion as the world elite bankers supposedly hold. The leader of the Jesuit order is commonly recognized as the Black Pope, whose signature staff is a crooked cross. Historically, the Jesuit order has been seen as one that shirks no crime in expanding the power of the Church. Lest this sound entirely outrageous, one must note that the Jesuits are, for instance, the inventors of concentration camps, which they established in Paraguay in order to incarcerate and then torture the native Indians of the area. But the litany of attributed Jesuit evil is even darker than that, according to those who believe in the order's continued malicious pursuit. The supposed founder of the Bavarian-based Illuminati, Adam Weishaupt, was a Jesuit. In fact, the order is reputed to have been deeply involved in the Illuminati's initial expansion, and chances are it is still deeply involved. One more thing that highlights the evil of the Jesuits is their extreme oath of induction, which all superiors must take in order to be elevated to the higher rungs of the organization. This quote is taken from the book Subterranean Rome by Carlos Didier, translated from the French, and published in New York in 1843, and reads in part, "Promise and declare that I will, when opportunity present, make and wage relentless war, secretly or openly, against all heretics, Protestants, and liberals, as I am directed to do, to extirpate and exterminate them from the face of the whole earth, and that I will spare neither age, sex, or condition, and that I will hang, waste, boil, flay, strangle, and bury alive these infamous heretics, rip up the stomachs and wombs of their women, and crush their infants' heads against the walls, in order to annihilate forever their race. That's when the same cannot be done openly. I will secretly use the poisoned cup, the strangulating cord, the steel of the poniard, or the leaden bullet, regardless of the honor, rank, dignity, or authority of the person or persons, whatever may be their condition in life, either public or private, as I at any time may be directed to do so by any agent of the Pope or superior of the Brotherhood of the Holy Faith, of the Society of Jesus." One of the most poignant quotes regarding the malevolence of the Jesuits comes from Marquis de Lafayette, 1757 to 1834, who was a French statesman and general who served in the American Continental Army under the command of General George Washington during the American Revolutionary War. His quote is as follows: "It is my opinion that if the liberties of this country, the United States of America, are destroyed, it will be by the subtlety of the Roman Catholic Jesuit priests, for they are the most crafty, dangerous enemies to civil and religious liberty. They have instigated most of the wars of Europe." When evaluating Jesuit behavior and influence, please keep in mind that both Donald Trump and Hillary's VP, Tim Kaine, are Jesuit educated. And it should be of great interest, therefore, that practically on the eve of the U.S. election, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton partied the night away at a Jesuit function that included such prominent Jesuit-trained attendees as Henry Kissinger. Not only did the two not look like sworn enemies, they looked like two star-crossed lovers going to their first prom. We have long held to our stance that Hillary will be the next president of the U.S. The amount of vote rigging, murders, and shenanigans to even get her to where she is so far has been tremendous, and it won't stop. That said, if by some fluke and the Diebold machines malfunction, or people in the U.S. wake up slightly and Donald Trump gets elected, it's pretty clear they are on the same team, and as we've said previously, nothing major will change. So if you were hoping that this election could change things in the U.S., get over that hope right now. It might change things, but only for the much, much worse. This charade is being played right in front of everyone's eyes, and most don't understand what's happening, or why jokes like the Catholic joke is actually funny to these elites. They're laughing at the peasant stupidity and lack of understanding, not because the men mentioned are Jews. Anyone with half a brain knows that. But while they laugh, we'll be laughing all the way to the bank ourselves. Just because these sick people are formulating diabolical plans to enslave humanity doesn't mean we can't profit from their planned chaos. It's better than sitting back in ignorance and making nothing. Our analysis of these elites' occult timelines, which began with the Shemitah and culminated with the Jubilee, have helped us to accumulate around a 200% collective return on our portfolio in the last year. You can subscribe to the Dollar Vigilante newsletter at dollarvigilante.com/subscribe.
Okay, so Dollar Vigilante is doing some good work, I must say. Now, if that just does not say it all. I mean, the Jesuits were founded years ago, hundreds of years ago, by Ignatius Loyola, a cryptic Jew who acted like he was a Catholic priest, in Spain. And he founded the cult of the Black Madonna and so on and so forth. The Jesuits went on to be sort of the treasurers of the Vatican. And over the years, it became very corrupt. So the Pope, like it was like 1707, was forced to expel them to Russia. And they went to Russia, and that's where they established their little Jewish power center at the time. And that's when they started all that trouble in Russia. Now, basically, the whole situation is still up in the air. Because, as you just heard from the other video, Hillary's campaign could bribe the Electoral College. The Electoral College is completely corrupt. First of all, 24 states of the Union, okay? Their electoral colleges vote not according to the vote of the people, but according to their own will. That's about half of the states' electoral colleges, if that tells you something. Anyway, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Now, just on a quick note, too, about Donald Trump and Greece. Donald Trump, basically, throughout his campaign, has spoken in a very degrading manner toward Greece, saying basically, how the hell can these people be getting all this money and not basically be selling off their land? Or, hey, if America continues the way it's going with this ridiculous national debt, we're going to end up like Greece. And he's chosen a very interesting individual for one of his advisors. His name is George Papadopoulos, who's a Greek Cypriot. George Papadopoulos has done many studies on Greek and Cypriot natural gas. And he is advising Trump, basically, to get Greece and Cyprus to go along with a huge agreement with Israel. There's already sort of an agreement that's been drafted up between Israel and Greece and Cyprus, but this guy is trying to get Trump, basically, to go along with this agreement because it's going to give Israel the opportunity to form a natural gas, basically, alliance with Greece and Cyprus in order to benefit off of this. This is treason, to work together with the criminal state of Israel. But don't let it surprise you, because Trump throughout his whole campaign has said that he supports Israel 100%. His first guest to the White House will be none other than Benjamin Netanyahu, the arch-terrorist who was behind 9/11, along with Larry Silverstein and all these other insane-in-the-membrane Jews who need to be tried and who need to basically be done away with in this country if we want to survive as a nation. So, this is the real issue at hand. And, of course, we know, too, that Donald Trump, all of his kids are either married to or dating Jews, which is interesting. Anyway, that was my broadcast for today. This is John Contreras with Greek News on Demand. I will try to get more broadcasts out throughout the month. I'm very busy as a journalist, exposing what's going on about Greece and other major issues, but I really appreciate this network. So God bless you guys, and, we'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.
This is Ozzy Skateboard, and you're listening to UCY.